Hi, everybody. It's Leslie with the New Mexico Small Business Development Center, and I'm here with Eric Spellmann today. And he's got, hi, Eric. He's got a great topic because this is Google search secrets of the pros. I want to remind everyone that Eric is great about picking up the questions right away. So if you have any, type them into the Q&A. He'll pick them up right away. Also, raise your hand if you'd like to ask Eric a question, and you guys sit back, relax, and learn about Google search secrets of the pros. Thank you.
Okay, people, I hope you're ready because there's going to be a lot of meat in this one. And trust me, if you're paying attention, you learn even just a few of these tricks, some of these tips. You're going to be faster at searching because I'm here to tell you the small businesses that succeed are the ones who can get the answers before everybody else. And if you know how to use Google, if you know how to, lift the hood of Google and kind of get some more performance out of it, bad car analogy, but that's my point. You can do it. And that's what these tips are about. And you may know a few of them, but I guarantee you don't know all of them. And I've learned these over time. A lot of these have been given to me by friends when I was looking up something very specific, and they said, oh, did you know Google can do this or do that? And I didn't. So they gave them to me. So get ready. I'm going to be jumping back and forth and I'll be showing you how to do some of these. So unfortunately, Zoom gets a little weird when I'm jumping back and forth. So you'll forgive me if it's not as smooth. So let's get started. One of the tricks I want to teach you about is how to find exact phrases. What you need to realize about Google is that when you type something in, when you type multiple words into Google, you're basically searching all documents or all web pages that contain at least one of them. In other words, if I was typing in, remember the infamous gold or blue dress? If I was typing in gold dress, then it would find all pages that contain gold and also all pages that contain dress. But the pages that would be sorted first would be the ones that have both words in them. Does that make sense? So when you type just a phrase into Google, it's actually doing what we call an or. It's kind of putting in like an invisible word or between each one of those words. Sometimes maybe you just want it to give you the exact. You want to find that exact phrase. So in that case, we use quotation marks. Whenever you put quotes around something, you're basically forcing Google to find that exact phrase, and only that. If it doesn't have those words in that order, then it will not show up. So you're going to get more valid results. Now, keep in mind, case is insensitive. So don't worry about it. Uppercase, lowercase, that doesn't matter. But if you want to find an exact phrase, that's how you do it. It searches for that exact phrase, and you can type in as much as you want. A good example would be this one, one small step for man. If you're looking for that quote, you could put it in quotes and more likely find it much easier. It really does change things for you. And I'm telling you, I put this one first because it's one of my favorite tips. You will be surprised how much faster you're going to drill down to some of the results you're looking for. Now, let me give you some reasons to use this. A while back, I was writing lots and lots of blogs. Before video became a thing. And I decided to take one of my sentences in my blogs and I put it in quotes and I did a search on it. And the sad part is I found a site in Canada that was copying my blogs. They were just going on the internet, copying my blogs and posting them for themselves. And the only way I would have found that is because I put an exact quote, and I mean like 20 words in order, in quotes from one of my blogs. It allows you to find plagiarism. It's amazing. This is one of the best ways. If you think someone's copying your stuff, get a big piece, a big segment, maybe a couple of sentences or a long sentence of what you did, put it in quotes and do a search on it. And it's a very easy thing to do. Now, since they were in Canada, legally, there's really not much I can do. I can't make them stop. If I want to throw enough money at it, maybe, but anyway, so just realize if you find someone copying your stuff overseas, legally, there's not much you can do about it, but at least you know about it. Now, also keep in mind, and I've told you this before about Google search, is that since you had it first, Google's going to give you the credit. Okay. Google's going to give you the credit. You will always show up ahead of them if it comes to that, because you had it first. So my first tip, use quotes. Oh, you will love that. My second one, exclude words. Okay. And the way you do that is with the dash. I'm going to show you this one. What it does is it excludes certain words. It prevents certain words. Like you're searching for one word, but not this word. Let me give you an example. If I were to type that in, bass space dash fishing, the dash fishing is basically saying, I want all pages that mention bass, the fish, but not any of them that have fishing in them. You follow me? So, I mean, there's different ways you could look at this. Like the example that I've seen used in the past is many times people will do a search on, say, a rock star, say Madonna. But we all know that the word Madonna also has a lot of religious connotations. And so if you want the results just to be the singer, then you can say Madonna space minus Mary. You follow me? Or minus religion. You see what I'm saying? And what it'll do is it'll make sure that it gets you the words that you want by excluding the ones that you don't. Let me show you what I mean. Let's get out of this. And oops, there we go. There we go. Okay, now if I go in here and I type bass dash fishing, then you're going to see it's going to give me every place that talks about bass, but not about the fish. You see what I'm saying? Or it doesn't have that word, particular word in it. And keep in mind, when you do this, you need to put the dash in with no space. So the only space is between the two words. So bass space, and then the dash, the hyphen, and then whatever it is you don't want. The other one we did remember was the quotes. So if I type quote bass fishing, and I put it in quotes, then it guarantees it's going to find those two words side by side and in that order. Okay. So those are the first two that I want to start talking about that can really help you narrow things down. Okay. Okay. Similar words. This is also a good one. Okay. Similar words, we're going to use, it's called the tilde. And if you're on your keyboard, you're going to see it in the top left. It looks like a little wavy hyphen, okay? And it's called the tilde. And it's usually used when talking about, foreign words, but it's also used in math, believe it or not. So in this particular case, it means similar to. So whenever you put that instead of the hyphen, it's kind of like, I want to search for that word and pages that have words that are also like that, like in a thesaurus. Okay. So for instance, in this particular case, if I type tilde mobile space phone, then basically it's going to find phone for sure, but it's going to find cell phone, mobile phone, portable phone. You see what I'm saying? It's going to look at similar words. And so if you have something that people are searching for, but they can use it a lot of different ways. Like a good example would be lawyer and attorney. So see, I could put the tilde attorney, and it would also pick up lawyer. So that's how we find similar words. So like I said, that's here. So if we go in here and we type, like we did earlier, tilde, and then we type, let's see, mobile phone, then like I said, it's going to pull up the results that have everything to do with mobile phone, cellular phone, cell phone. And you see even here, it found words that it considered similar, telephone, and all the results we get down here are going to have those results in it. So if you're looking for something that can be called a bunch of things, use the tilde. It can really make things easy. So Okay. Next, multiple words. This is where we use or. Now keep in mind, Google does kind of a default or, like we talked about, but you can also put or in there. See, this all goes back to a form of searching. Back when computers were so complicated, if you wanted to search the internet, you had to know something called Boolean logic. Boolean logic, if you want to impress people at parties, throw this term out, okay? Boolean logic, Boolean, named after a guy named, last name of Boolean. Anyway, it basically is how a computer finds things. It uses ands and it uses ors and it uses nots. Those are the three things you'll see in Boolean searching. In this particular case, we're using an or. And what it's going to do is it's going to find pages that contain this word or that word. So for instance, in this particular case, vacation, London, or Paris. So it's guaranteed to find the word vacation, but it'll find it with the word London or with the word Paris. So you can go in and type that in exactly like that, and it will put it in. Now, some people might ask, well, Eric, can you just leave the or out? Would it have found it anyway? Yes, but I'm here to tell you, for whatever reason, and Google doesn't explain this, if I use the or instead of just assuming it's inferred, if I use the or, I get better results. So if you're looking for, I want to go vacation. I don't know if I want to go to London or Paris. You can look up both in the same search. And that's what that does. I really, really like it. You can get pretty complicated with those ors. And you can even do some, I'm here to tell you, Boolean equations are like mathematics. And you can even use parentheses. It's so crazy. George Boole, thank you, Brian. Yeah, George Boole is the one who came up with it. And it's basically how all computers work. It's how all computers search. And to be honest, computers work on logic, black, white, on, off. It's all about logic. And so when you do a search, that's how it looks at it. Okay, let's move on. Get definitions. Now, this is a fun one. Some of those were just some normal ones, some normal searches, but this one I like because as well read as I am, I don't know every word. And sometimes some people will throw a word out there. I have no idea what it even means. So what I'll do is there is a keyword you can use called define. So if you go to Google and you type define space and then put in a word, it'll tell you what it means. It's really kind of a good example. Define colon plethora. Now look at that colon there. Okay. Notice there is no spaces there. In order for this to work, you don't really want to say define space and the word plethora. You want to say define colon plethora. So let's try that. And show you this. Define plethora. Okay. So define plethora, and I'll hit enter. And look what it gives me. It comes up and it actually gives me the definition for all of that. And notice I can even have it tell me how to say it. So keep in mind, if you need a dictionary, if you don't know what it means, just type define colon and the word, and it will come up and tell you exactly what it means. Okay. And plethora means a lot. That's what I discovered. So, okay, let's go back. Okay. I like plethora. I like define a lot. And I'll be honest, it is one of the tricks I use quite a bit. And instead of having to go pull up a dictionary or go to dictionary.com, which is what I know some of you do, you can just do it in the search. It's just one of those words that Google doesn't tell a lot of people about. It exists. It's kind of cool. Site specific. Now, this is an important one because this is how you narrow down a search to just pages that are on a specific site. And you use the word site and colon, and it only searches particular websites. So good example. If I type the word COVID space, and then I do site:/edu, what that's going to do is it's going to do a search for all pages talking about COVID, but only on college sites, colleges that end in .edu. It limits it to that. So another way you could use this, and another way I've used this, is when trying to do some tech support. So for instance, if I get a weird Microsoft Windows error, many times what I'll do is I'll type that error in quotes, but then at the end of that, I'll put site:/Microsoft.com. And what that does is it makes sure that every single result I do is only coming from Microsoft. So let me show you what that looks like. I'm gonna figure out a better way to do that. Okay, so if I type, and maybe there's an error. Let's see, what would be a good error? 404. Yeah, not found. I put that in quotes, but then I'm going to put space, and I'm going to put site:/Microsoft.com. No spaces when you do the site part. The only time you put spaces in is when you're separating keywords. So this particular one, kind of like define, is site:/, and then Microsoft.com. And what this will do is it will search for the exact phrase 404 not found, and it will only search Microsoft sites. So I hit enter, and if I look here, you will see that every single result comes from Microsoft itself. I use this so much because it keeps all those, you know how you do a search when you have a computer problem, and so you do a search on it, and then you start getting these weird vendors who want to sell you their little thing to fix your problem, and many times it's not a fix, it's garbage. This is how I don't see those. Is I say, you know what? Here's my error, but I only want to search Microsoft. I don't want to buy a particular piece of software to fix this. So it allows me to stay clear of all the sketchy stuff, if you know what I mean. Makes it so much easier. Every single result. And notice it found 11,900 results, all of them on Microsoft sites. Okay. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so site specific. Limits your searches just to that one site. And remember, you'll be getting a copy of this presentation that kind of shows you all of this. So don't worry about having to write all this down. This one is one I like a lot, called linked pages. This is a little keyword you can use with Google. And what it does is it doesn't show all the pages from a site. It shows all the pages that link to a site. How many times have you ever wanted to know, is there any other website out there that links to my website? You know you want to know. You know you want to, is anyone linking to me? I get that question all the time. How do I know if someone has made a link to me? This is how. Okay, it searches for web pages that link to a particular website. So for instance, that's what you would type, link:, and in this example, Disney.com. It's not going to show you Disney pages. It's going to show you pages that link to Disney.com. Okay. So for instance, let's go take a look at this, and let's go do one. Let's see, yeah, we'll do that. So we'll just do a site, we'll do link:, nmsbdc.org. Okay. Now, if I type just that, what it's going to do is find all the websites that link to the New Mexico Small Business Development Center. And you'll see here, it starts with the ones that are on the site that have links in there to themselves. But when you get further, you're going to start to see others. Like here's sites, LinkedIn is linking to them. Twitter is linking to them. The SBIR, Small business, I'm not sure who the SPIR is. Anyway, but you can just go through it. Lostcruces.org links to them. This is a great way. Even the SBA links to y'all. Wow. You can find some of this stuff. So if you ever want to know who is linking to you, that is a way of going. Brian is asking, is this related to branded results that Google My Business shows? No, this is not branded results. Branded results is more of, how can I put it? It's more tied to the categories that you tell Google about. So when you tell Google for your business, this is what we do, those are branded results. Those are results that you specifically put in that you want Google to associate you with. This is more basic searching, regardless of whether it's a business or not. And so once again, it shows everyone that's linking to you. Now keep in mind, people that link to you, that's a good thing. Google, believe it or not, Google actually looks at how many other people link to you. And it's actually one of the determinants on how popular you are on Google. People ask me all the time, Eric, how do I show up higher in Google? Well, that's one way. When Google sees that a whole bunch of humans are linking to you, they tend to think that you're relevant. And so the more people that link to you will actually benefit you in showing up higher in Google. It's not that I want you to go out there and start asking people to link to you. It's just that over time, people will link to you and they'll link to your blogs and they'll do things like that. And so eventually you'll start building up this big, we call them backlinks, okay? Backlinks to you. And Google likes that. They really do. And it really helps. Now, this is where I also need to warn you. Listen up. I need to warn you about this. There are companies out there who will promise to get links to your website on like 1,000 websites overnight. In other words, you have all these backlinks. It's called backlinks. And so they will create backlinks. Like, you pay them $50 and they will create 1,000 backlinks to you. Their belief is that it's going to help SEO, but I'm here to tell you, we call those link farms and they're illegal. Not illegal federally, like the cops are going to arrest you, but they're illegal with Google, which is worse. Because if Google catches you doing this and using some of these link farms, they will cancel your site. They don't like cheaters. And so what these scammers are actually doing is they have a whole server farm full of fake websites. And all they do is go in and add a link to your site and a long list of other people they've charged. And you get no benefit out of it whatsoever. So don't participate in link farms. And they're, like I said, Google will spank you hard. And you don't want that. Like I said, the main reason I use this is just to see, number one, who's linking to me. But there's another sneaky reason I use this. You've heard me talk about spying on your competitors, legally, of course. This is a great way of doing it. I will type link : and their website, my competitor's website, because I want to see who's linking to them. In a way, it's kind of a sneaky way of maybe finding out who some of their customers are. Back when I was building websites, we would always put, website designed by at the bottom. And so I could do a search on that with my competitor and find all their customers. It was so easy. So you never know how you can use some of these sneaky, and it's totally legal. Okay, math answers. Let's go back to this. Math answers. You can actually get Google to do a little math for you. I used to keep a calculator next to my computer all the time, but now I don't anymore. I don't need to, and that's because Google will do all the calculations you need. And basically, you're just going to type in mathematical equations into Google. It's kind of like it operates as a basic calculator. So look at some of the examples you can put in there. You can just type in 10 plus 6, and it'll show you the answer. Or you could get even more complex, and you can say, what is 67% of 3,986? Let me show you what that looks like. So if we go to Google, and I put 68%, and actually type the word of, 3986 and hit enter. Look what it does. It's like I did a search on it, but it actually did the calculation. Not only that, but it popped up an actual little calculator on a web page that I can use. Folks, if you ever just need a calculator in a pinch, it is an easy way to do it if you're sitting at your computer. I actually use this over launching the little Microsoft Windows calculator. Okay. And like I said, you can do some complex math, and you can even do parentheses and nested parentheses. I mean, you can do cosine and trigonometry. It's crazy. By the way, if you're a parent and your kid is doing math homework, you need to realize this exists. Just saying. Okay, so besides the math answers, we can also do conversions. I use this a lot, especially when I'm cooking. And I will I mean, I have one of those little Google speakers in my house. And so I'll just ask Google while I'm cooking. I use that all the time. I'm telling you, people, if you don't have one of them little Google speakers yet, you're missing out. I mean, I talk to her more than I talk to some people. And I'm asking her, what's the weather outside? Is it supposed to rain today? Or I'll tell her to add something to my shopping list, or I'll tell her to do this or that, and she just does it, and I'll say how many cups in a quart, how many pounds in a kilogram, and she knows it, and she tells me. You're going to use equations in this part, but it does units of measure. So in this case, take a look. 28 degrees Celsius and 28 C and F, it knows that means Celsius in Fahrenheit. In other words, if I see a temperature in Celsius, I can convert back and forth. Or I can say how many days in a fortnight. 14, by the way. And I can just go on from there. It makes it very easy. There's a lot of conversions you can do. I use these quite a bit, So I may say, how many feet in a yard? And notice what comes up. I just typed in a normal sentence. How many feet in a yard? It comes up and it says, look, 1 yard equals 3 feet. But look, I can drop this down and I can change it. I can say, you know what? How many feet equals how many centimeters? So 1 foot equals 30.48 centimeters. If you ever just need to do some quick calculations, I'm telling you, this is the way to do it. And like I said, I have the Google little speaker in my house, so I can just call it out and she'll just tell me. I'm telling you, if you're not using that, you're missing out. So, I mean, you can do all those sorts of equations. It makes it very easy, especially, like I said, when I'm cooking and my hands are all messy and I don't want to go to a computer. I just want to ask away, and that's what I do. Okay, image searches. We're going to spend some time on this one. This is really, 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 really important. It is one of the best ways to check for plagiarism. If you think someone is using your image, if you think someone has stolen your image, and it could be an image, it could be a picture, it could be a graphic, it could be your logo. If you think someone has stolen that, this is how you can find them. I already showed you how to check for plagiarism in text, like if someone stole your blog or copied it. But this is how you check for pictures, okay? Now, the way you're going to get there is you're going to go to a special site. This one is at google.com/images. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so up here at the top, I'm going to go to google.com/images. Now, the way you'll know that something's different is right here. You're going to see the little word images under Google. Okay. And you'll also see a little camera icon here, because basically this is how you can upload a picture. So a lot of people say, how do you upload a picture? How do you type in it? You don't type in a picture, you upload it. So take one of your pictures, like your logo. You're going to click search on image, and then you're either going to drag and drop the image into this area, or put the URL, or click here on upload an image from your computer, and then just go get it. And when you do it, what it's going to do is search for all images that are the same or that look the same. Okay. So, I mean, you can pick any image you want. You know, and I'm going to show you an example here in a second. So let's see. If I wanted to, yeah, that's what we'll do. I'll just show you how to do one. If I want to go pick let's see, Pepsi logo. I'm gonna go to images. And by the way, if you do a search and notice up here, you can click on things. I click on images. Now I have the Pepsi logo. And if I want to see every image that is similar to that, okay, I can click on it and I will just download it. Or you know what? I may just save the link. That'll be easier. Go back to, oops, no, I don't want to save the link like that. Copy link address. There we go. Go back to Google Images. I'm going to paste the URL right here. Paste image URL. Search by image. Up. Well, their link didn't do it. Their link didn't. We'll go to it. We'll just do it that way. Oh, they're selling logos. Okay. Well, you'll see in a good example here in just a minute on exactly how I used it. So you can search for an image, you can search for a logo, but let me show you what really happens. When you do a search, I know a lot of people who use this for fashion searching. So for instance, they will see a dress or something that they like. And so what they'll do is they'll grab that picture of it or the URL directly to the picture, and they'll put it into Google, and Google will show you where those dresses are. It's a way almost for people to find where to buy them. And so I see it used in fashion a lot. Or if you want to see who the maker was or something like that, because what it does is it goes out there and finds all the pictures that are very similar to it. Okay. So it's excellent for that. Also for identifying items. I know a lot of people who take a picture of something. They have no idea what is this. Like I took a picture of a leaf on a tree once. It was a weird looking leaf. I took a picture of the leaf and I did an image search on it, and it told me exactly what kind of leaf it was. It's image searching is really useful for identifying what things are. But back to that plagiarism. This is where things get fun. Back in the day, and this is years ago, maybe 10 years ago, the city of Amarillo, which is where I live, decided that they wanted a new logo. And they hired a company, but the company couldn't give them a logo they wanted. Finally, some little college intern came up with a logo, and the city loved it. I mean, oops, back to the wrong one. There we go. There we go. The city loved it. Here's basically what it looked like. They loved it. And they said, this is our new logo. This is our new logo. Well, when they chose that, they started painting it on the vehicles and they started putting it around, and they had a big party and they had a big announcement in the newspaper. And I was angry because a lot of my friends are graphic designers, and I wish that the city had given them, I wish the city had given my friends an opportunity to maybe like compete, like let everyone submit something and pick the best, you know, but they didn't do it. And I was mad. So when I saw this and I heard that some college intern had done it, I thought, you know what? That looks a little nicer than an intern could do. So I did an image search. Now, folks, pay attention. When I did that image search, I immediately got this. And that's when I realized this college intern had stolen someone else's logo. So, what should you do when you're the only one in the whole city who knows that that logo is a stolen logo? That the city logo representing the whole city, that the city was now an illegal, Emar is a Middle Eastern company. It's a Middle Eastern oil company, is what they are. So What did I do? Did I call the mayor, who's a friend of mine, and say, hey, you got a problem, you better deal with it? No, that would have been the right thing to do. I was so mad because my friends didn't get to compete. I took those two pictures, posted them side by side on Facebook, and I said, well, at least I wish they could have been original. Yes, that was spiteful. Yes, that was petty. And it turned out to be a mistake because it went crazy. It went viral. My post went super viral. It made the news. It made Texas news. You could, to this day, you can go to Google and do a search on Amarillo logo and you can read the story. Because see, the city of Amarillo had actually hired a trademark lawyer to make sure that no one had used that logo before. All I did was a 3-second image search and popped that up. So it was really embarrassing. Someone lost their job and they eventually came up with a better logo. But anyway, that's my point. Most people don't know about this. If you think someone is stealing your pictures, this is one of the best ways to check. It really, really is. Okay, there's quite a few other tips. And so I'm kind of lumping those into kind of one group here. Okay. And we're going to spend some time on these, obviously. Whenever you do a search, a lot of people don't realize there's actually search menus. So let's go take a look at that and you see what I mean. When we just go to Google in general, this is just a normal Google search right here. If I go into Google and I just do a search, say on bass fishing, okay? When I do a search, take a look at what comes up. There's a lot that's coming up because Google's trying to be very, very helpful to us. But what I want you to notice is right here, the search menus. The search menus. Because all I did was type in bass fishing, and notice it gives me all the results below. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to show me, and by the way, yours might look different when you do a search. It's showing me videos because a lot of times when I do searches, I'm all about YouTube. I'm all about videos. I'll watch videos. So it knows I like video results. So many times it'll show video results first. You may not see that. And so there's 3 videos. But then Google also says, you know what? People who did a search on that also did searches on these. Do you want the quick answers to those? And people can give those. I mean, you can just click on these and it'll say, like, right here, what is the best bait for bass? All I have to do is drop this down and look what it says. Bass jigs. Okay. And what Google did is they found this site, in this case, bestbassfishinglures.com. And Google felt that a lot of people had gone to this site for that answer. So they're going to start suggesting it for that answer. So it gives you a lot of questions. And if you click on one, it even starts changing the questions to help you. But the first organic result is right here, bass fishing for beginners. It's bassmaster.com. And so this is what it considers to have the most in there. But notice it says all right here. And if all you're going to do is type a search and look down, that's all you're going to get. If I wanted to limit the searches to just videos, watch. I'm going to click videos. And now all of the results I have are videos. If I'm just trying to find a video on it, that's how I do it. And all I did was click on videos. If I click on images, it's simply going to show me a whole bunch of bass fishing images. Okay. And so a lot of it depends on what you're going to want. Now, news, I use news a lot too. News will actually search the most current news all around the country, all around the world, where there's a reference to bass fishing. So right here, the first thing that comes up is the Chicago Sun-Times. After a year because of the pandemic, the state's finals for high school bass fishing is back. So it finds all the news that talks about bass fishing. Shopping. If I click on shopping, basically what that's going to do is find me every product out there that is referenced on with bass fishing. And you'll notice I can even click on these products. Now, remember, you're probably wondering, Eric, some of these like T-Public, T-Public, Cabela's, Dick's Sporting Goods. Are you saying, Eric, that you can actually click here and go buy it without going to Dick's Sporting Goods website. They're using Google product feeds. If you're wondering, let's say you have a product that you want to sell where people can enter their credit card and buy it from you. Instead of forcing them to go to your website, you can create a Google product feed, and then Google will start showing it like it's showing all these. It's kind of like a little Google shopping place without going to the website. If I actually clicked on a website, like let's say, yeah, like Dick's Sporting Goods, this one right here. If I click here, then yeah, it's going to pull up the information about the product. Notice I'm still on Google, but I can keep going and dive down and eventually get to, as you'll see here, Dick's Sporting Goods. So it gets me to the product very easily. Okay. So back to the search. Here we go. And up here at the top. When you're in searching, notice I went to shopping. When you're doing a shopping search, if you scroll down on the left, Google gives you some really neat filters. And so these only show up when you do click on shopping. And it allows you, look, to search across multiple vendors. I like this a lot. Instead of having to go to individual vendors and then go to another vendor and then go to another vendor, I can search across a lot of them very easily using Google's filters. You know, and I could say only products that rate at a certain level, or I only want products from Cabela's, or only want products from Walmart. You know, I only want products with free shipping. I only want products that are either blue or black, or this price range, or available in the stores near me. There's so many different ways you can do this. Now, if you keep going down this submenu, you'll see more. And you'll notice that I can choose a lot of items. So for instance, you'll see videos that we already seen, but then news, books, you can actually do a search on all books about that and you can buy them. I like flights. A lot of people don't use this, but you can go in there and you can type a flight. You can say Amarillo to, Albuquerque and click on flights and it will show you those flights across all the airlines. It is so easy and most people don't even know. Finance is also useful because it will actually show you stocks. So for instance, I did a search and I click on finance. Notice it's going to give me the Dow Jones, the S&P, and a whole bunch of information. If I put a search in there, it's going to start giving me information on those as well. So this is a great way of getting stock information because it takes you straight to Google Finance. Okay. So once again, these are the search menus. Now, the search menus will also let you take it a step further. So let me go back and show you. Under images, if I'm doing an image search, if I go over here, notice there's a new item called tools now. I can click tools and you'll notice another menu pops down over here. And I can say, you know what? I only want large pictures. Or I only want pictures that are blue. I only want clip art or line drawings or animated GIFs. I only want things that were released in the past 24 hours, the past week, the past month. How, you want the newest. I want pictures that I can just use in my own presentations or use in my reports legally, the Creative Commons licenses. And or I can clear all that out and go back to my search. So one of the big searches I use when I do image searches is tools. And then I get this subset that a lot of people don't even know exists. Another one I like to use is on news. If you just go to news, and I am going to leave that and I'm going to go to tools like we did earlier. You'll notice that it's a little different now because it's news. So notice right here, recent. So what I'll do is I'll say, you know what? I only want something released in the past hour. If I know this is real, like it happened today, I can weed out all this old news by saying the past hour, the past 24 hours, the past month. So if I say the past 24 hours, these are the news articles that were released in the past 24 hours. I use this a lot when I'm trying to find the newest news on something. Like, good example, the government's about to announce the whole UFO thing in June. So you could do a search on UFO and the word government and say in the last week, and you would get all the up-to-date stuff, not all the old stuff from years ago. So I use that particular search quite a bit, and you can set them up there. Let me see. What else was I going to show you on that? I think that's all on that. Let's go back to presentation. Okay. Oh, we have a question. Let's see. It looks like DuckDuckGo can also do what you're showing. I would assume others can too. Is there a reason why you're only showing Google? Yes. There is a reason I'm only showing Google. Some of y'all may disagree with me. Google is all that matters. Let me explain. When you do a search, you are basically searching a catalog, a big database at Google. What Google does is it has these little spider bots that go out and search the internet, and they pretty much copy every word on every web page and stores it in Google's database. Google has always been the best at getting relevance from that. So even though there may be 10,000 pages talking about, how to bake a cake, Google will always serve up the best ones first, even better than DuckDuckGo. The only reason I see people using DuckDuckGo, because DuckDuckGo is like below Yahoo. It's like below AOL. The top search engines, 98% of everybody uses Google. 98% of all searches are done on Google. The other 2% is divided between Yahoo and, believe it or not, AOL. Like I said, DuckDuckGo doesn't even rate on there. The only reason DuckDuckGo has been around for a while, and the only reason it got popular recently is because they don't save your searches. Now, I like Google to save my searches. How can I go into this subject without a whole bunch of people hanging up on me? I do a lot of talks on cybersecurity, and let me just share something with you. Privacy doesn't exist anymore. Okay, you haven't had privacy in a long time. These companies know a lot about you, and they're going to continue to know something about you. You can't take it back. It's already out there. The reason I don't use DuckDuckGo is because I don't care. Okay, when Google knows what I search for and how I search for and what I like to click when I search, I get better results, which means I can do my job faster. You're saying, well, then Google knows everything about you and they can target you with ads. Yes, they can. And I'm glad that Google targets me with ads that I actually care about. When I see an ad come up and it's for diapers, I have nothing to do with me. I would never buy those. You see what I'm saying? If it was a totally anonymous and Google knew nothing about me, it may throw a diaper ad at me. But if it throws an ad, up about, eating at McDonald's, which I like, I would rather see that. I would rather see that the bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits are on sale, two for $4. You know what I'm saying? That's the ad I want to see. And yes, Google knows that because it knows I like McDonald's. Some of you people need to realize that privacy is not all what it's cracked up to be. And as a small business, you need to realize that information is power. And the more information that you have on your customers, the better you are. So the more information that Google has about you, the better it is to serve you those answers. And I know that sounds creepy. I know it sounds big brothery. I know. But I'm just telling you, you haven't had privacy in a long time, and you're going to get better results on Google than you will ever get on DuckDuckGo. Hope that answered your question. The other thing I want to talk to you about is asking questions directly. Start treating Google like a person. Okay. If you talk to it like a person, you'll get better results. Google actually did a study where they put men and women in a room and they watched how men search Google and they watched how women search Google. And what they discovered was while it wasn't exactly divided down the middle, for the most part, men would type in keywords, just individual words, looking, trying to search. Women would actually ask questions. Google actually understands, believe it or not, Google's computers are almost operating at like a 5th grade level of intelligence now. Google's computers are amazing, which means Google, and I mean the computers, not the people there, the computers understand the difference between the word what and the word when. Google understands the difference between where and how. So if you start asking questions, you're going to get results that answer those questions. So for instance, let me go back over here. Let's just go back. I'm going to go to Google search. And I'm going to say, how old is Lady Gaga? Okay. Now take a look what it did. I just asked a question. How old is Lady Gaga? And look what Google did. It didn't give me just a whole bunch of places I might find the answer like you would expect. It gives me the answer. Okay. And that's what you need. That's what you need to understand on all of this, people, is that Google's ultimate goal is to give you answers, not results. Right now, they're search engines. And so the search engines are serving up websites that might have the answer you're looking for, because people only do searches when they want to find the answer to a question or the solution to a problem. That's it. That's the only reason, or maybe get entertained. But you're finding the answer to a question or the solution to a problem. Google would rather give you the solution than tell you 100 places to go look for it. So common questions, you're seeing Google get smarter and smarter and smarter, to where you'll be able to start asking questions like, who won the 1978 World Series? And she'll just tell you who it was instead of giving you a result. By the way, you might be wondering, how does Google get smarter? How you're teaching Google. Whenever you ask a question that Google doesn't know the answer to, believe it or not, your question actually goes to humans at Google, who then teach Google how to answer that. So in the future, anyone asking that same question will now get an intelligent result. In other words, we are all making Google smarter. The more we use Google, the smarter it gets. Now, I know this sounded all scary and all that, but I'm here to tell you, don't let it be. Technology is a good thing. One final tip I'm going to give you is that longer searches are better than short. I would rather you type a whole ton of words into that search blank than one. You're never just going to go to Google and type cars because you want to buy a car. You're not going to type one word cars because you've all discovered by now that's too vague. It's too broad. It's too general. But what you might type in is, 2018 white Jeep Cherokee. That's the more you put in, the faster what you want shoots to the top. So I would rather you type in a long search than a short one. And really, these are the tips of the pros. Questions on anything I've gone over?
While you've been talking, I have been pounding around on my computer looking at stuff. Image searches, I'm sure, is a big deal in case you're doing logos and trademarks and stuff like that. And I think also this can go back to being a small business owner, correct? That you can start putting in searches and different things and learning how you can come up, rank higher on Google.
Well, and what I tell people all the time is you need to do Google research. You really need to do Google research on your own company. You need to know how Google is serving you up. What does Google even think you do? And if you're kind of like, if you're out there and you're like, I don't even know if I show up in Google, I don't even know, then listen to me. This is when you need to call your SBDC and get an appointment with a counselor, because they can make sure that Google knows exactly what your business is and doesn't serve you up wrong. I can't tell you how many small businesses have told me, Eric, I do show up on Google, but not for what I do. How do I fix that? I realize immediately that person didn't set up their Google small business, um, uh, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Their account correctly. And SBDC counselors can do that for you and fix it practically overnight. So if you haven't set an appointment with your SBDC counselors, you need to do that immediately and make sure that your company is showing up in your city for what you do. I mean, that is critical. Any other questions?
Well, I think it's critical because sometimes mistakes happen, and it's how do you fix the mistakes is what's critical, because you might have set up the account, but then you're can't remember your like me can't remember the password, which I have learned by cybersecurity courses. I need to put that in the vault, but I think all that's information is, you need to know what you look like out there before you can fix it. And so do you think going to a private mode would make any difference at all
Yes,
if
it does
you,
help. It does help
okay.
going in, going into private mode or incognito, whatever it's called on your browser. Going into that will help because you'll be operating more like an anonymous person. Google won't really know who you are. Remember, Google is always trying to help you. So that's how it knows to give you, if you search for pizza, it's going to give you results in your city. It just knows. But if you go incognito and it doesn't know where you are, then yeah, you can get more accurate results. A lot of people tell me, they say, Eric, I show up number one for this, number one for that. But when I do a search on the same search on my computer, they don't. And it's because Google discovered that every time they did that search, and maybe they were number 7 on the list at the bottom, they would always click on that. So Google goes, you know what? Every time they do that search, they click on number 7. So for them and them only, let's make that number 7 result number 1. Google was trying to help them, but it tricked them into believing that they were showing up number 1 for something when they weren't. And the easiest way to know if you really are showing up well in Google is to do incognito, like you said, Leslie. Great question.
Well, and I've got a lot of clicking around to do. This is the last call for questions, so either raise your hands or type them into the Q&A. And while you're thinking, because I know there was a lot of information, we do have a question.
Catherine, I'd like to hear your version of cybersecurity. Yeah, you're probably going to hear that. I think it's one of the ones coming up, isn't it, Leslie?
We have the
Lots of chat.
on-demand. There's some cybersecurity courses, and let me just give the brief outline of what's coming up. E-commerce and alternative selling methods is coming up. Basic steps to starting a business in New Mexico. We have accessing financial resources in a bilingual session coming up. Understanding employment contracts. We have investor partner to tell the difference. And then Eric is going to be next week with us, your most important online stat you cannot ignore, but he's also going to be with us again using hashtags, the small business secret. And I believe cybersecurity is coming up in the future.
Yeah, I'll be doing a cybersecurity one. And like I said, I approach it differently than a lot of people do, because I approach it from the standpoint that, the horses are out of the barn. And so privacy doesn't exist anymore. And so you just need to operate in the most competitive way possible. And you need to know how to know what people know about you, but getting it back, you're never going to undo anything. You're never going to get privacy again. If it's out there, it's out there. And chances are you've already been hacked and people already have all your stuff anyway. And some of y'all are going, you are so cynical. No, it's not cynical. It's just realistic. Get over yourself on your privacy thing. That's all I can tell you. Get over it. Because we live in a world where the more information the computers know, the better they can serve us. That's really what it comes down to. And I know that sounds so like robots in the future, but it's true. Google knows how I like my pizza. So when I order a pizza, it knows. It saves me time. It's convenient.
You got it, brother, from Brian. Also, I want to answer Catherine. She's already watched several other cybersecurity webinar series. I will give you the date, Catherine, on Eric's version of cybersecurity for you. And George is asking, will you provide a replay? Yes, you are going to be getting an email with links for the on-demand version and also our YouTube channel.
Yeah, I highly recommend y'all go play with these things you saw me doing, and I think you'll discover some really cool tips.
And the one thing is that if you have any questions and you want to pop back onto one of the other of Eric's webinars, bring your questions, because
Yeah.
if everything it kind of flows together, so he can definitely answer those questions in one of the other webinars. So,
Definitely.
and that is it for today, guys. So you guys have a great day. And that was my hand waving. We will see you at the next webinar. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.